Hello, in this video let's discuss the next question. Here is the question, read it and get it right. Metroland is a country located on 2D plane. They are planning a summer festival for everyone in the country and would like to minimize overall cost. And the cost of travel is represented as monthly distance between the city location and the festival location. And a people vector is given where jth index represents the number of people at that city. And x of I represents the ith coordinate of that person, and y of j indicates that yth coordinate of jth person. For example, for the given array where 1, 2, 1, 3 and 1, 3 indicates that one person is at 1, 1 and 2 are at 3, 3. And we have to find the optimal x of y, x and y such that the distance will be known. For example, let's take some question, let's take some possibilities. If it is 1, 1, what is the minimum distance? What will be the distance? It will be simply 1 into 0 plus 0 plus 2 into 2 plus 2. Because these two persons have to travel 2 plus 2, and as there are 2%, it will be 2 into 2 plus 2. And similarly for other examples, we can find the answer. And if we do many examples, we can get that the answer is least for 3 and 3, which is 4. So return 4. And the constraints are x and y are up to 1 in 9, the coordinates, and size of x, y people are up to 1 and the total number of people are less than or equal to 26. Without these constraints, for advanced constraints, let's discuss this in some of the next videos. For now, let's assume that the total number of people are up to 16. This is 2D because we have two coordinates. And now let's think to simplify this. And now just think of 1D. And even in 1D, now let's assume that there is only 1% at all locations. So it means that we are given just some set of numbers and each person is at each index. And we have to find the optimal location for the least distance. So let's assume 0, 1, 2 for our locations, and x is the optimal location that we are searching for. And what will be the distance in this case? It will be simply mod x plus mod x minus 1 plus and so on. Because the distance between this and 1 will be simply Manhattan distance, which is mod of x minus 1. And the first thing that we can think when we see some set of numbers is, for example, if we see 1, 2, 3 for the first time and we are trying to get a single number, what they can be, we will simply guess whether it is mean or median or mode, because these three are simplest one, or they can be other as well. So just instead of guessing mathematically, let's try to find it by doing some math. What is mean? It is simply average. Median, we can sort it and we can find the middle value based on the length, and mode is the most repeated number. So just instead of guess, let's try to do some mathematical derivation. So this is the minimum, this is the distance for x, and now let's break based on some cases. So we have 0, 1, 2 and 4. So what are the cases? When it is less than 0 and between 0 and 1, between 1 and 2 and 2 and 4 and greater than 4. So we have 5 different cases for 4. So let's try to deal with each one. So when x less than or equal to 0, mod x must be positive. So x is negative. So mod x will be minus x. And similarly all other are negative for x less than 0. So we can replace all by minus values and it will be simply 7 minus 4x. And as this is less than or equal to 0, minus x will be greater than or equal to 0. Minus 4x also will be greater than or equal to 0. So this whole will be greater than or equal to 7. And now let's come to second case where 0 to 1. If it is 0 to 1, x is positive. So mod x will be positive. And it is positive and all other are negative. And similarly, even in this case, we will get the all values greater than or equal to 5. And for 1 to 2, these two are positive, these two are negative. So make these two positive and these two negative. If we simplify, the answer will be 5 and it is the most minimum possible. Because only 5. So obviously it is minimum or it is maximum as well. And 2 to 4 and similarly 4 greater than 4. If we try to do all this, in every case the value is at least 5 because it is greater than or equal to 9, 5, 5 and 7 and it is exactly 5. So from this we are able to understand that it will be minimum in 1 to 2 because it is the least value possible. So this is median as well, because for even size the median will be middle two numbers. So it is given that a festival locations can only be integers. So 1 and 2, between 1 and 2 also indicates that only 1 or 2, no any other non-integer location. So let's discuss some graph. So here is mod x plus x minus 2 plus x minus 3 for odd length and these two are for even length. So red indicates the odd one. So from this we can get that 2 is the median because we have 0, 2, 3 as elements. We have 0, 2 and 3. So what will be the median? It will be simply 2. So at 2 the value is least. At 2 the value is least, and for all other values it is greater than 2. So for all other values it is greater than 2 and for median it is least. And similarly for some even, so let's assume the second one. So for 0, 1, 2, 3 it is even, so it can be 1 or 2. So from the before one, if we do the same calculation, we can get that the answer will be least for 1 and 2 range. So from the graph we can see that it is least for whole 1 and 2, and it will be greater than this and this in the other ranges. So from this we are sure that for the median we can get the least value. Before median or after median, the answer will be increasing. So now we got one answer, and now let's consider the number of people as v. And now still we are in 1D, and before we checked that we got the answer for every person. But now let's assume we have 3% at some 4, 2% at 6, and one member at 3. What will be the optimal location? So it will be simply v of 0 into x minus 0, and simply and so on till last value. But this can be simply decoded as x0 v of 0 times, x1 v of 1 times, and so on. Because three members, it indicates that there are 3 different people at same distance 3. So these both are same. So now we can try to find the same as the before possible. So what will be the net effective number of people? It will be the total sum of people, because it is given that the total number of people is then equal to 106. So anyways, if we try to take a new vector and add v of 0 copies of x0, v of 1 copies of x1, and so on, the total number of count will be less than or equal to 106, because it is given. So we can sort this and we can find the median. So because of the given constraints, now we can take a new vector and we can sort and we can get the median. We found the optimal answer for x and optimal answer as y, because for one dimension it is correct. So we can do for only x and we can do for only y, but the each person is at a particular action y. Here we have done independently for x and independently of y. This is correct individually, but is this correct for pair as well? It is correct, because let's say we found the x optimal for all x and we found the y optimal for all y. So what will be the best optimal location for the new one? It will be simply x optimal comma y optimal, because the distance between the points is just mod of y minus some constant plus mod of x minus some other constant. There is no dependence between x and y. So simply we can find optimal answer for this, optimal answer for this, and the new point will be xy of this, the new one. So why we are thinking that it is independent? Because optimal location of x is independent of optimal location of y. If we get optimal location of x as 3 and for y as x of 2 and y as 3, the new optimal location for the net will be 2 comma 3, and we can find the answer for all. So in this way we got x optimal and y optimal. Now we can simply find the answer. Let's discuss the code. We are inputting the value and x and y. We are taking the new vector and pushing v of x of 0 v of j times, and this is just the adding in the new vector, and we are sorting both, and we are finding the size, and we are finding the optimal x and optimal y. So if the size is 2, if it is odd, it is simply the median one, because as you have simply divide by 2, it will be middle one. So x count of size and optimal y is equal to y count of size, and if it is even, we can consider anyone. So the values are 0 1 2 3, and we have reduced the size by 2, so new size will be 2. So let's assume that we are dealing with this one, so it will be simply index 1 and it is size minus 1. So it will be count of size minus 1 and y of size minus 1. And how will we can find the answer? It is simply we can traverse the whole x count and we can add absolute value of it minus optimal value of x, because 0 1 2 3 and we found answer for 4. Let's assume that we answer for this is 1. So now what will be distance? It will be mod of 0 minus 1 plus mod of 1 minus 1 plus mod of 2 minus 1 and so on. So we are just simply doing this and simply adding for y optimal as well, and we are printing the answer. In this way we can find the answer. If you have any doubts, comment below. See you in the next video.